Hi there. As we start to do more stitching, I just want to review the not the mechanics of stitching, the Namu Kiebutsu as you go down and come up, but just kind of take a look at the spacing and sort of the finished pattern. This one is the Rakusu that I sewed a couple of years ago. The stitches are a different color than the background, which makes it easier to see. And what I remember the encouragement being is that the stitches ended up looking more like dots than like dashes. So although you are going in below and coming out above, or the opposite, I'm a little unclear, but you get the idea and you know how to do the stitches. They end up looking more like dots here than like dashes. And they're not going to end up being uniform. Some are more dashy and some are more dotty. You can see the ones along the edge are quite like dots. And again, as part of a check, you can look on the back and see how these end up looking pretty much like a straight line rather than a definite up and down. So it's a small innuendo, and you probably can get misled when you say that you go below and above, when you're sewing. And this is the tiger tape on there for a scale. Another example, which is one that we shouldn't exactly try and emulate, was this Rakusu made by the original teacher back in the 1960s and 70s. And this one was given to me by a dear friend of mine, and she made it for him. He was one of the very first teachers at the San Francisco Zen Center who left early on. Anyway, you could see hers are very much like dots. This was Joshin-san. Lovely, lovely woman. She was a nun, and as I said many times, her practice was, in addition to Zazen, and lots of Zazen, was sewing. She'd probably tell me I shouldn't show you this because whatever everyone did, she accepted and said was good. That was my memory. And you can look at the back, how straight those lines are. And I see this one differs from this one. Okay, that's just a review of how the stitches end up looking. And they're not. I don't think she ever used the tiger tape. It was all done by hand. So ideally, once you get rolling, you don't use the tape. You just sew by eye and sew by feel.